I don't know if you noticed, but the last video, the audio was behind the video somehow. I have no idea. So I'm really sorry about that. If you need me to re-record, just let me know by email. Okay, and that's for my classes, not for other people watching YouTube. Sorry, I don't mean any offense, but that's my classes are why I'm doing this. Okay, back to the problem. So now we are supposed to be multiplying two matrices together. Well, we have this crazy notation in this box right here. Let's see if I can squeeze it all in here. What all of this is telling us is if you multiply matrix A times matrix B, you get all of this stuff down here. Now, what in the world does that even mean? Well, this says to obtain the entry in row 1, column 1. Row 1, column 1. You literally multiply this row by this column. To get the element in row 1, column 2, you multiply row 1, column 2. To get the element in row 2, column 3, row 1, column 3, you multiply row 1 times column 3. That's how you get all of this information at the bottom. So I know this seems really strange, which is why this is on your notes. Like, what in the world? Alright, so this is your finger dance. On your notes that you have printed out, put your left finger on this one and your right finger on this one, and pretend like there's a string connected to both. That string goes around a nail that is right there. So you have a string connected to this finger and a string connected to this finger. So what's happening is you're going to pull like this. So when this finger goes down, this finger slides across. Alright? So that is the way you multiply matrices. You need to be really good at that motion right there. It's a pretty simple little dance, right? Make sure you're really good at that. Now let's go back up here. To get this element, all of this right here is one element. To get this element, you multiply these two, multiply these two, multiply these two. Add them all together. That's your first element. We didn't finish all our columns yet, so we have to stay with the same row. So then we multiply these two, multiply these two, multiply these two. That's our next element. We still have one more column to go, so we stick with the same row. Multiply these two, multiply these two, multiply these two, and add them together. Once we finish all the columns with one row, then we move to the next row. We do multiply these, multiply these, multiply these, add them together. Multiply these, multiply these, multiply these, add them together. Multiply these, multiply these, multiply these, add them together. So what you're going to end up with, first of all, this one is a 2 by 3. This one is a 3 by 3. To determine if you are even allowed to multiply them together, you look at the two in the middle. If they are the same, you can multiply them. If they're not the same, it's undefined and you don't have to do anything. But if you can multiply them, these two numbers, 2 by 3, that's going to be the size of your answer matrix. Okay, so let's see how all of this works. We want to multiply A times B. Let's multiply A times B. So I want to write out this entire step. At some point, it's okay to leave out this step. I have no problem with that. So we multiply 1 times 6 plus 2 times 7. Remember, you stay with one row, one column, and as your left finger moves across, your right finger moves down. 1 times 6, 2 times 7. Now we move to the next column. 1 times 6, 2 times 8. Got it? 1 times 6, 2 times 8. We finished both columns. Move to the next one. We have 3 times 6, 4 times 7. That was 3 times 6, 4 times 7. Now we move to the next column. 3 times 6, 4 times 8. That was 3 times 6, 4 times 8. Now I didn't show you this because these were both square. They're both 2 by 2. If you have a 2 by 2 and you multiply by a 2 by 2, this says you can multiply them. This says your answer is going to be a 2 by 2. So you can see we have a 2 by 2 going on here. So this is going to be 6 plus 14, 6 plus 16, 18 plus 28, and 18 plus 32. So simplifying that, 6 plus 14, 6 plus 16, 18 plus 28. Let me just make sure I did that right. Yes. 18 plus 28 is what? 46. And then 18 plus 32 is 50. So what if we take those same two matrices, but we multiply them in the opposite direction? What if we multiply B times A instead of A times B? You know, whenever you have multiplication, it's usually commutative. 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6, right? So we would think that multiplication of matrices is commutative. Well, let's see. So we have a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. So it follows the same rules. We can multiply them. We're going to end up with the 2 by 2. So we have 6 times 1, 6 times 3. 6 times 2, 6 times 4. 7 times 1, 8 times 3. And 7 times 2, 8 times 4. I know I did that kind of fast. Once you get used to that method, it will come a little bit quicker to you. So that was 6, 6 times 3, 6 times 2, 6 times 4. 7 times 1, 8 times 3, 7 times 2, 8 times 4. What do we have? 6 plus 18, 12 plus 24, 7 plus 24, 14 plus 32. That gives us 24. 12 plus 24 is what? 36. 7 plus 24, 31. And 14 plus 32. Sorry, I can't think. It's 46. So let's try to look at both answers. I don't think I can squeeze them both on here. We have 20, 32, 46, 50. We have 24, 36, 31, 46. Just based on those two matrices, you can see that multiplication of matrices is not commutative. So AB is not the same as BA. It does matter which order you are asked to multiply them. So be really, really careful with that. So how about this one? In this one, we're going to have a 2 by 3. They want us to find AB and BA. So let's do AB first. We have a 2 by 3 and we have a 3 by 2. This says it's okay to multiply them. This says we're going to end up with the 2 by 2. So let's multiply A times B. So this time I'm going to leave out that step that I said you could leave out. I'm going to leave it out this time. We're going to multiply, multiply, multiply. So the multiplication part I'm going to do in my head. We're going to end up with a 2 by 2, so I kind of know how big to draw my matrix. So that's negative 5 minus 8 plus 6. So I'm still multiplying these. I'm just doing the multiplication part in my head. Then I go to the next column, but stay with the same row. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. 2 times 0 is 0. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, now I'll go to the second row, first column. 4 times 5. 0 times negative 4. 5 times 2. 4 times negative 1. 0 times 0. 5 times 3. You can use your calculator if you like. Just make it a little bit easier for us. Negative 5 minus 8 plus 6 is going to be a negative 7. 1 plus 9 is 10. 20 plus 10 is 30. Negative 4 plus 15 is 11. So the next thing they asked us to do is find B times A. So B is going to be 5, negative 1, negative 4, 0, 2, 3 times A, which is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 5. This time we have a 3 by 2 times a 2 by 3. We still can multiply them, but this time we're going to get a 3 by 3. Let's see what happens. So I need to make a taller matrix this time. 5 times negative 1. Negative 1 times 4. I finished the first column and you move to the second column. 5 times 2. Negative 1 plus r times 0. Move to the third column. 5 times 3. Negative 1 times 5. Now I finished everything in the first column and the first row. I move to the second row and go back to the first column. So negative 4 times negative 1. 0 times 4. Negative 4 times 2. 0 times 0. Negative 4 times 3. 0 times 5. Now I finally made it to my last row. I multiplied this row times each column. So 2 times negative 1. 3 times 4. 2 times 2. 3 times 0. 2 times 3. 3 times 5. Simplify everything. Negative 5 minus 4. 10 plus 0. 15 minus 5. 4 plus 0. Negative 8 plus 0. 12 plus 0. Negative 2 plus 12. 4 plus 0. And 6 plus 15. Did I miss a negative in here? Yep, sorry about that. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12, so that should be a negative 12.